Friday's Guardian, front page, lobbying fears grow as millions of pounds permeate MPs' special interest groups in Parliament. Is this bad, Scott? Is this like like backhanders, or is it what is going on here?
Well, it's a backdoor entry. I think APPGs, which you may or may not know, are made up of lobbyists, and I'm looking for what APPG is.
It's the All-Party Parliamentarian Group.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right.
And
it's a mechanism for allowing lobbyists to bribe politicians. Is that without saying it sort of
influence them? And help them.
Okay.
Apparently, £13 million have poured into a growing network of MPs' interests.
Right.
And these networks are private firms, and they're made up of healthcare bodies, arms companies, and tech giants. And it's fueling concerns that there's influences coming in with money to MPs.
That doesn't seem like a huge amount of money in this context. I suppose, if that's coming into actual MPs, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. The money's used, though, for things that people feel uncomfortable about. You used to fund trips, secretarial work, hospitality, and services that are opaque to the public. And so these things are happening behind the public's back, effectively. Yeah. And I think the MPs are too nervous to mention where the money's coming from. It may not sound like a lot to you because you're quite wealthy, but 13 million to the average person sounds like a lot. And they're like, why is this money? What is it buying? Is what people are worried about.
I would like to know where it's going. That's what I mean. I mean, if it's going to individuals, it's an awful lot of money. If it's a kind of budgetary... I don't know. It's all about context, isn't it?
There are times where groups, it makes sense for them to come together to lobby government and have, in the COVID crisis, comedians got together with a comedy association to raise our issues and that kind of thing.
In fact, a lot of good that did, but still.
Yes, we tried to get organized for once. But, I mean, the problem is here that these aren't, you look at some of these groups, they never save the kittens, are they?
Yeah, well, the concern is that these groups are finding out what the MPs are interested in, where they're, private interests. And then they're funding those to then say to the MP, well, we gave money to that, now we'd like to ask you to kind of usher in this law or push along this rule.
And it's always it's the boring stuff, isn't it, which is where they get away with it. Because I remember, there's a guy called Jesse Norman, who's a Conservative MP, who was in the Treasury for a while, who wrote a book about Adam Smith and the free market mechanism, a defence of it. And because he was a Tory MP, I was quite interested to see this chapter where he discussed the extraordinary successes of lobbying groups in America, how they can spend, because they've got enough money, they can spend like 2 or 3 million lobbying for tax breaks or kind of historical tax debts to be eliminated. That are worth billions, literally billions. It's so effective if you do
They also provide secretarial work in the U.S. so that sometimes politicians themselves cannot afford the people needed to write laws. So the lobbyists send in people of their own. So suddenly what you're getting is lobbyists writing laws in the U.S. And I think that's where they're afraid of here. Is these companies want their own MP, and the MP wants their own lobbyist group. So it seems
a very bad direction if we were to go in it, And we saw that thing, there was a couple of weeks ago where there was a Labour MP like taking money from China. And it was like it's being monitored and everything, but you kind of feel like this, I don't know if this has always been there, whether it's just like emerging more now, whether it's more visible, but it feels like we're slipping into that American model a little.